I'm glad I don't have to be in the video. It's so, it's very annoying. Sometimes, of course, it's fun to record a video, but it takes a lot of time and it's energy consuming and stuff like that. But the video turned out really cool. I like it. The song is about the song is just about being chased by zombies and how horrible that could be.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Innersleeve, the podcast taking a behind-the-scenes look at all things music. I'm Cassius Morris, my co-host Joe Pacheco joining me on the line. What's going down, Joe?
I don't know. You tell me. I was going to ask you.
I guess we have to know in order to answer that question.
Yeah. Nah, tons of stuff going down, man. Like today we have an interesting guest from Tomas Åkvik, as we pronounce it properly, right? From
right.
Bloodbath, Swedish death metal band. That'll definitely wake up your neighbors if you blast it loud enough.
This is the breakfast hour show if you guys need a little bit of refreshment in the morning. Definitely an awesome chat with Tomas coming up. We do not want you guys to miss that. But real quick before we hop into it, we just wanted to thank you for another milestone right here on the SoundMojo channel. We've just reached 28,000 subs here at SoundMojo, and we couldn't be happier. And this actually, it feels pretty quick, Joe, because I feel like we were just saying 27,000.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I think last episode we had mentioned it. Like the last 1,000 went up pretty good, like pretty quick, very fast, which is always, always appreciated. And definitely want to thank everyone who clicks that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any uploads that we put up. And all our On This Day daily shorts that we put up as well. We hope you're enjoying those. As always, comment, let us know who you'd like to see or who you'd like to see on this show, any topics you want us to cover. Or all ears.
Hopping into some news in the world of music, Dave Mustaine made a little drop in to Austin, Texas, and he dropped by the studio of none other than Joe Rogan for an exclusive podcast talking all, of course, about Megadeth. Not only that, but also his years in Metallica, as we see brought up in this story. And before we jump into this story, Joe, I'm thinking out loud here. Why doesn't Joe Rogan do more podcasts like this? I feel like he doesn't have nearly enough music people on the show.
Yeah, well, it's funny because you went when you brought this up. Maybe we could talk about this. I was like, wow, I really enjoyed watching the James Hetfield interview he did years ago. I loved obviously these are some of our idols growing up, so it's always great to get the backstory and see what's going on. But yeah, I agree, man. I personally haven't. As soon as he switched to Spotify, I don't have the reflex of catching him anymore. Sadly, but I'll still see the clips in my feed sometimes. I definitely have to check this out a little bit more. The Mustaine stuff, but it's he just looks really angry in this picture. This is a bad frame, it looks angry, angry again as
Mega Mustaine, the man himself.
Yeah. So what's the deal here?
Well, it looks like he's actually come out and talk about his Metallica days a little bit more, which I think it has been a while since Mustaine talked about Metallica, at least on record. And this is interesting what he said. He said that he was, quote, disappointed, or is that the quote? What exactly is he saying here, Joe?
Well, yeah, he was disappointed that they used his music, I think, or they continued to use his solos and stuff back in the day, right? I guess he's over it now, as he says, kind of thing. But I think there was a solo here from Metal Militia that he said for many, many years that Kirk got his royalties for that. And,
Yikes.
Whatever. So now I think that's sort of probably fixed if that's what he's saying. But it's true, the first Kill 'Em All, I didn't know, when I got into Metallica and I discovered Kill 'Em All, the album, it was so raw and so awesome. I loved it. And so I only know it as Kirk Hammett, right? And then, as you get into, Metallica, the big four, right? Megadeth, Metallica, Slayer and stuff.
Of course.
You start to see that he was the guitar player before. And you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting, But it kind of sucks because he looked like he had, if he wasn't in Metallica and started with Megadeth, he would still have this success and he would be super, really happy about it because it was a very successful band. But it's that bitterness of getting kicked out of a band and then it blew up even bigger than you, in terms of that. So that made him very bitter for many, many years. As he says over here, I think he says, I was in my 20s when I got kicked out of Metallica, and now I'm 60s, in my 60s, with Megadeth. So it's been 40 years, of him having to deal with this bitterness a bit, of having gotten kicked out and the band taking off like Metallica did. I mean, they're just super huge, Metallica. It doesn't even make sense. But I always thought that, guys who quit bands right before they just blew up, or they blew up
Yeah.
after they quit bands. Let's say like, yeah, I don't know, man. I can't. No one comes to mind right now. But there's some guys that just quit the band and like, or in this case, got kicked out and the band just blew up.
Well,
I think
Nirvana had
myself-
like 10 drummers, didn't they?
Well, that's it. You know, so I would think myself, I'd be pissed off too, or bitter, or man, did I make the right decision? You know, did I screw up?
Pete
you know,
Best, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like some of the guys. Wasn't it somebody in the Beatles that
Yeah,
left?
and then he put out Best
That's
of the
it.
Beatles, his own CD, which was just
that's
horrible.
Yeah, so it's like, man, can you imagine? Like, you know, it's a decision, man. You got to live with it, right?
This is the truth. I do think we have some video as well of Dave Mustaine queued up, where we can hear him actually talking about this too.
When you left Metallica, and then did you go right into Megadeth, or what did you do right after Metallica?
I think in my mind, I went right into Megadeth, but at the time, I was still kind of trying to, digest everything that took place.
Well, you were still only 20.
Yeah. But the thing that bothered me the most was I had all my music, and I left it behind, and I said, don't use my music. And of course they did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they used it on the first record, on the second record. There's parts of my music on a song on the third record. All the solos on the first record are mine, except that they're just performed by Kirk, and close, but not the same.
So, like, how would you feel, you as like a guy, like as a musician in his place? Would you be pissed if they continued using your music or your parts?
Of course, I'd be pissed. The only thing I wonder though is why exactly. Like, what does that mean? He left it behind. I mean, they were already in the songs.
Yeah, that's it. The songs are written because I'm pretty sure like most of that Kill 'Em All album was already played live. Right. And so like those songs, because like, I mean, if Kirk Hammett is playing his solos almost note for note, slightly changing, whatever. So yeah, everything was definitely already ready to go. So like, also at the same time, what do you expect the band to do? You're right. Like these songs are written, we're ready to go. So it's like, we understand. So like, I mean, I hope, you know, they like, maybe they did credit him, because I know I've seen the credits, Dave Mustaine written by, so he got his credit and, you know, royalties throughout the years and stuff. Maybe not as much as he would have liked or whatever, but I mean, I don't know. I've been in a similar situation where I've had projects and either I left or it just disbanded, and some guys got together and, you know, I thought of that. Don't use my stuff, you know, like I had that
they
same
kind of pick up
reflex.
where you all left off as a group.
It all depends too on how it ends. Because if it would have just been an amicable ending, oh guys, go ahead, use my stuff, no problem. Man, we're still brothers, whatever. You know, but when it's a bitter ending, I would be. I would be the same way. I'd be like, don't use my shit. You know.
I think it feels different too when they all started together as basically unknown people. It's not like, you know, an Ace Frehley situation where all the solos that people play of him now in the band are famous established solos. I mean, I think it hits different when they started something together and then it became big.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it's like a, you know, sad tale for this guy, you know, in terms of at that situation. But look, I mean, he didn't really have it that bad going forward. He was still successful, still touring and stuff. But like, I know what it's like. I know how that feels, like, of that bitterness and like, you know, you want to get back at them or better than them, you know.
Did you get royalties for that?
Well, most of them, yeah. But Kirk got my royalties for Metal Militia for many, many years. And, you know, he has to see the check. So I know somebody saw that I wasn't getting paid.
So there's a sadness. And
I doubt he can keep track of his checks.
No bitterness.
I'm over it.
A little upset.
Yeah, maybe in the beginning of Metallica, at the early days, yeah, you could keep maybe you know, once Ride the Lightning and especially the Black Album, forget it.
Yeah, I doubt he even sees it. Like Mustaine, I wouldn't be so sure that, you know. The thing is too about Mustaine is he strikes me as a guy who's very, very petty. That's the one thing. He strikes me as a guy who, if you took a pencil from his pencil case in the third grade, he will always hate you, it seems like. And can we blame him? Not necessarily, but I don't know how good of a quality that is.
Yeah, I know. But like, I mean, it's a human experience, right? It's a human having his experience in his way, you know, and his happened to be in the spotlight. And like, can you imagine like having to deal with probably the questions all the time of, oh, when you were in Metallica or back, what happened with you in Metallica? Throughout your whole Megadeth career, you're still hearing this whole
forever
and probably reading articles. Can you imagine if social media existed then?
Yeah.
You know,
Oof,
and like
brutal.
the hate comments or whatever it would have been, because we
They'd
spoke
send their
about this
armies
with-
against each other in the comments.
Exactly. And it could have been worse. I mean, the guy could have gone into a depression and you know, God forbid, like, you know, killed himself or something or whatever, you know. It sucks because look at Trevor Strnad. I always say that name wrong. The singer that passed away, 40-year-old singer from, I forgot
Yeah.
which band.
Black
anyways,
Dahlia.
That's it. And it's like, you know, he had to deal with hate because he was a bigger dude, you know, his weight issues and had to deal with all that stuff online that, you know, gladly these guys didn't have to deal with it back then, you know?
Phenomenal point. Now, diving deeper into this Megadeth story, we did get another exclusive from Dave Mustaine speaking in an interview published here by Guitar World. And this was a bit of a rare one here because he talked about the old guitarist of Megadeth, Marty Friedman, of course, who left in 2000. Of course, an Innersleeve alumni as well, who's been right here on the show. And it looks like we got some more clarity on why Marty Friedman actually left Megadeth, which is something that I think has sort of been sort of hazy, Joe, like mysterious to fans to a degree.
Yeah, like from what we gather here, it was, you know, I'm sure it's like, it's the, you know, like they say, the straw that broke the camel's back, or you
Right.
know, the in the sense that like many of these things have happened maybe over the years.
It wasn't
and
just
touring, 'cause-
one thing.
Yeah, and I guess this just sealed the deal kind of thing. Well, the fact that he apparently there was for Breadline, there was a solo that Marty had recorded and, you know, put down, but the label and I think even Dave weren't 100% set on it being the one, right? Because apparently they wanted to make the song a single, you know. And they thought, here it is. It says here, yeah, Mustaine explains that Friedman had written and recorded a solo for Breadline in the studio, but management wanted the track to be a single and thought his solo wasn't right for the song. And that's what's messy, man, when it's like you're in a band, you work hard, you do your thing, you record everything, and then like someone at the label, or in this case it was management, you know, I don't know, you know, management is a little closer to the band because, you know,
Yeah.
than let's say a label. And, you know, they don't, you know, whatever, the solo, they didn't think the solo was the right solo, you know. So he said, well, you have three choices. Either you completely mute the solo and have Marty come back and do it, or I do it. But if I do it, you got to tell him, you know?
Right.
And,
Which is only
and so-
fair.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And so they redid it and nobody told Marty. So when they're listening to the album, this is what sucks. They're listening to the finished album in the studio. Nobody had told them. So when that solo came in, he hears, obviously, so distinct the difference between Marty Friedman and any other guitar player, but like between these two guitar players.
Especially when
So
it's to
anyway,
his ear.
That's it. So it's like, and it was his solo and not Marty's. I looked at Marty and tears ran down his face. I knew that no one had told him, and I knew that was probably going to be the end of Marty Friedman in Megadeth, you know?
Wow.
And I can't blame Marty for sure. Because just the fact that nobody told me, he might have been okay with somebody, redo it and, you know, trying a few things and it didn't, you know, whatever, you know, to fix the solo. But finding out that way really sucks, you know? So like I said, this must have been, you know, because I remember reading way back when I was a young kid, reading Hangar 18, like the album, Rust in Peace album, the actual song, Holy Wars. There's a beautiful break where he does this acoustic, like, within the first, this acoustic flamenco-ish kind of like, you know, Spanish sounding
So good.
thing. It's so good, man. When I heard that, I was like, wow, this guy is just insane. And apparently, he just put that down as a filler, not to, you know, just to, here's the idea. And then they went on and redid, you know, continued doing all the tracks for the album. He wanted to go back and redo that, but, you know, it was, look, it's brilliant. We love it, right? We've heard it. We love it. But he was not a fan of what he did. And he had no choice, man. They forced him to leave it there because they loved it. And I think it was a good decision.
Totally.
We don't know. It could have been better. We don't know that. But I mean, it was fine. It was great. You know, so it's like
I think it's tough to gauge how people are going to react to something like that when it's a wild card kind of moment.
Yeah, but put yourself in Marty's shoes. How would you how would you react?
I mean, I would hate it. You know, I think definitely it's you know, it's one of those things where it's very personal, and you can think, oh, he's overreacting, but you know, think about your work. Think about, you know, if you put in work on a presentation and you put those hours in and then you watch the slideshow and they took your work out, anybody's going to be upset. So I think it's perfectly natural.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you said too, that I'm sure it was on top of many, many other factors that led Marty, you know, ultimately out of the band and to Japan. So, I mean, definitely a multi-layered story and one that continues to build even all these years later.
Yeah. So, like, I'm just curious because I don't know if you're familiar. Are you familiar with, like, all the guitar players that have been in Megadeth?
The majority. I know Kiko, Marty, and then who else?
Okay. So from the beginning, the first I remember with Chris Poland, which a lot of people love.
Poland, yeah.
His style and stuff, and he was great. Then there was Jeff Waters for one album, which I thought was a good guitar player. I liked what he did. And then when I was already a fan of Marty and Jason Becker in Cacophony, which was like an instrumental shred kind of band. And I paid like 20 something bucks for that cassette back in the day because it was so rare. It was an import. And Speed Metal Symphony, you know, and I put it on and it was like the first time I heard, because I saw them on the back of magazines all the time and covers, but we didn't have access to music like that. When I heard those two play, I was like, wow, these guys are just incredible. So what's funny is I'm growing up, I'm listening to this stuff, and then all of a sudden, Marty's the guitar player of Megadeth, and Jason is with David Lee Roth.
Right. Boom. Just like that, it seems like.
Yeah, these guys are going. And then like there was even Richie Kotzen, which was another shredder guy, is in Poison. So it's like all these shredder guys are getting into these major level bands, you know, which was exciting for someone like me to see these really good guitar players get their just due in terms of the spotlight and popularity, you know?
Well, that was their time, too. They really came into their own at that time.
And then I know Lakiko came in. There was someone else before. There was two brothers, I think, that played in the band. I forgot their name. Chris something, too. So I forget the name. But like in that era, I've sort of lost touch with Megadeth over the last, 10, 15 years. I haven't really kept up. So for me, honestly, like my favorite would be like, obviously Marty Friedman is like the Megadeth guitar player for me. Not to take away from anything that Kiko, right? Because Kiko is just a crazy guitar player.
Yeah, so I mean, they're all incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be, right? They're not going to like, the bar is here. Marty and those guys set the bar, so you're not going to get...
Even Dave.
Yeah, even Dave, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Dave's a sick guitar player, you know? But I was just curious to know like what you thought, which guitar player you tend to lean to.
Definitely Marty, man, all day. Yeah. I'm a Marty guy, and even his solo stuff, I definitely very much enjoy.
Yeah, and like, have you ever checked out his Japanese solo stuff, like the instrumental stuff? Yeah, it's that I remember buying that and being totally surprised, expecting a shred album, and it was just all this nice clean guitar, very peaceful. I was like, wow, this is such a breath of fresh air.
Very different direction than the Megadeth days.
Yeah, oh no, complete opposite.
Now jumping over to the SoundMojo community tab, which of course you guys should be subscribed on YouTube. Join the other 28,000 and come participate in these threads. They've been a lot of fun. Here we ask you guys, what song has your favorite opening line? And I definitely would love to know what I'll have what that cat is having.
I love this. Like I was just, this is like my favorite GIF. Not ever, but like one of the first ones I've ever seen. I was like, "What is hilarious?" It made me freak out. Anyways, I thought this was funny. What are you listening to, bro? Like that guy was always excited. All right, so we had Mitasan Hartzell, Santeria Sublime.
Okay, definitely.
That's definitely that.
Classic intro.
HWC Transgender Ministries. More and More by Tom Zanetti, Cove Remix. You give me a rush. You see. Not familiar with that track.
Okay, new to me.
The Nameless Gula. Welcome again. Obviously, everything
Ghost. By Ghost. Yeah,
okay. Melissa Worth. I don't like your little games. It's Taylor Swift. Okay, so I don't like your little games. Don't like your tilted stage. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The role you made. The role you made me feel like a fool, and no, I don't like you. Look what you made me do by Taylor Swift.
Okay, cool. Shout out Taylor with the powerful lyrics.
Yeah. Here, our friend here is back again. Queen, I Want to Break Free, because it's coupled with the best intro to a music video. Hard to disagree. I mean, he's like, that was an interesting video back in the day.
Definitely groundbreaking for sure, and ahead of its time.
Yeah, and I had commented saying like every time I hear that song or even just think of that song, like right now it's going to be in my head all day. I'm going to be singing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to get the vacuum out.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, right? Sean Gagnon, Woodsocket, Rhode Island. Come the morning, don't you wake me. I'll be dreaming that I'm free. Great White, House of Broken Love. I remember that song. Okay. Are you familiar with Great White?
I don't know that one. No, Great White. I know, of course, from The Fire, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, I remember being into that band when they came out. They had the Led Zeppelin-y vibe, but I remember liking a lot of the songs, and House of Broken Love was one of them. Also, one of the songs I played from them was on my first show live, ever playing live, there was a Great White song, Once Bitten, Twice Shy. We played that song. That was fun. Melissa Thomas, Can You Feel That? Plus, Down with the Sickness by Disturbed. Definitely.
I was going to say, wow. I was gonna say that's the best part. My sad attempt.
Colton R. Magby, Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. I mean, that song just always gets me amped up.
You know which one I love? Fueled by Metallica. Give me
Really?
da. You know what I mean? I mean, look, you can't beat that opening line if you ask me, because people think you're saying Charizard. You know?
Yeah. For me, it's A Perfect Circle. There's a song called Judith, and like he says something to the line. It says like, "You are such an inspiration for all the ways I never ever wish to be."
Oh shit, that's
so
very
Maynard.
Maynard. Very Maynard.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. I love those thought provoking where it's like you think he's giving you you're such an inspiration for everything I don't want to be. I love that. That just was always one of those for me.
Beyond cool. Hopping over to our weekly music suggestions. Of course, these are all the suggestions that you guys sent us and you wanted to get our reaction to right here on SoundMojo. And the first one was actually the one that stood out the most to me, I think, Joe. This came from Ken.
Ken Ulozis, Anything and Everything by Meg Myers. See, again, I don't know the name, but I definitely knew the song Desire. I mean, like, that was such a big song. And I checked out another one because it didn't mention any other song, but the song Numb was really good,
which has
too.
a very cool music video too. That I felt like my skin crawling just watching the video with all those people poking at her and picking at her.
That's
I was
it.
like, stop touching her, But I mean, I think that it definitely got the visual across. And then of course for Desire, that's a track that I'd heard only on TikTok. And it's funny because you never think of the origins of these songs, but I'm like, somebody had to make these songs, and these artists are really seeing, worldwide return from this with that, recognizability. So I thought, as an artist overall, it was funny too, because I saw in her comment section, someone said, I have a feeling 2020 is going to be the year that she gets the attention she deserves. And then she blew up on TikTok. So
yeah, good. Yeah. Like, apparently something like the 2020 is where she's going to blow up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good. Yeah, definitely a good artist. Definitely like has like some, like not creepy, but like some sort of like eerie kind of like, it's, like you have to go a little deeper than just the surface level to really understand, or, just the vibe she gives. It's really cool. So you really like this one?
I did. I thought it was cool, very different and sort of out of my wheelhouse. And same thing with the next one here from Game X Simmons, Silence by Brandon Lamb and Wolfcastle. I mean, this wasn't exactly my go-to type of music, Joe, I got to be honest, but I still, I like something that gets me out of my wheelhouse. And I thought it was a pleasant listen for me.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised. I thought this was more of an established artist. So when I got to the video and I saw it has a couple hundred views, I was like, So I put down my notes here. It's like, indie artists with criminally low views.
Yes.
I thought the song was really good. Like, great song. I loved it. It even sounds really good. I love the vocal harmonies, of course. I'm a vocal harmony kind of guy. And this is what I look for. This type of artist where it's like, sounds just legit. It sounds like someone who should be on the radio or should be more established. And this is what I look for SoundMojo. It's like, get these type of artists. I'm definitely going to reach out to these guys. You may actually see them on SoundMojo and some Watch Mojo videos.
That would be phenomenal. This next one here, I was surprised to see because I felt like this was a fairly well-known song, but When Doves Cry by Prince was mentioned as well.
Yeah, I think it's just like, I don't know if he thinks we don't know, but this is, what is it? Wheezy's Stew 9. I figured, I mean, I listened to it again because it's been a minute or two, but I mean, it's a classic, right? So it's
definitely
it's Prince. What I loved about this song now, listening to it now, is so sparse. It's very simple. There's just his vocal, a drum beat, and some synths, and then a wicked guitar intro, effects and stuff. But I mean, it's very simple. I was
meat
surprised.
And potatoes, sort of just all the elements that you need and nothing more. I think that's one of the things that Prince really highlighted, though. He didn't need, even though he could play a million instruments, he didn't need them all every time.
And our last one here, again, thanks. This is a great suggestion. This is like my favorite of the week in terms of Halas, Star Rider. I love it. As soon as I pressed play, I was like, oh, I hear synths. It sounds like
awesome.
synthwavy. Yeah, it sounds like synthwave. And then like once the groove comes in, I got a Fleetwood Mac vibe to the song.
There was a lot of classic elements to it. I heard little hints of Zeppelin around the end, especially when all the guitars came in. So I like the fact that it had that new wave sort of synthy vibe like you were saying, but it also had that classic sort of flair to it, which I liked.
For me, it's simple. It's got synths and it's got guitar harmonies. I'm already a fan.
Like, shut up and take my money. Like,
yeah, exactly, right. So, anyways, this one I definitely added to my playlist. This was my my favorite one of this week.
Same here. That was definitely my favorite. I think the level of musicality on there was awesome, and they fused different genres. Which, if you guys have listened to the show, you know I'm a sucker for that. So definitely big fan of that one. Keep those suggestions coming as well, guys.
That's it. And it was simple too. But yeah, definitely keep these suggestions. This is a good one. I really like this one. I mean, I like them all. They were all good. There's nothing wrong with any of them. Even Braden Lamb and Wolf Castle, that was a great find for me, So definitely keep those coming in, man.
So now we're going to hop into our interview portion of today's show. It's a pleasure to be joined by Tomas Åkvik of Bloodbath. And these guys are a phenomenal group. Joe had an awesome conversation with Tomas, and we really appreciate him coming on. Their new record, Survival of the Sickest, premieres everywhere September 9th via Napalm Records. You guys do not want to miss this brand new album, so make sure to check the link in the description below for all of the places that you can find Bloodbath to stay in touch with them. And of course, the great folks over at Napalm Records, and we'll catch you guys right after our conversation with Tomas.
Welcome, everyone. We are joined by Tomas Åkvik. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Not bad.
Good enough.
From a guitarist from the band, Swedish death metal band Bloodbath. So, Thomas, how's it going?
I'm totally fine. It's hot there in Sweden, but it's nice. Yeah.
It's a hot day in Sweden. Yeah. Are you enjoying the summer?
Yeah. It's great. Yeah. I haven't been out bathing that much that I would that I'm used to, but I don't know why, but I haven't. Just so but yeah.
Wow, that's good. It's just flying by. It's just like summer almost takes for like I know in Canada here we have similar weather, in a sense that we have winter most of the year. But like when we get summer, it's like it seems like it never gets here, and then all of a sudden it's over. That's what it feels like for us.
Yeah.
It
should be over now, I think, but it still is really, really hot and sweaty. So it's nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So getting back to Bloodbath, I believe you are the newest member in the band, right? Because there's been a lot of I looked it up. And there's been a lot of lineup changes over the years. Yeah. So how does it feel to be the newest member in?
It's all right. I don't have any special feelings about it. It's fun to play with those guys because they are really good musicians to play with. So it's really inspiring, I think.
Yeah. So you had followed them already before you knew of the band and stuff.
I follow the other band, Catatonia, not Bloodbath so much. Sorry guys, but yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. We only have 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah. It is.
So let me know, how did you end up in the band?
The bass player of Catatonia, Niklas, I've known him for over 20 years or something like that, 20 years. We used to play together, and then they needed a stand-in guitarist for Catatonia. So I joined there for a little while and played guitar live, and then I quit. When Per Eriksson, Sodomizer, he was going to play some other shows with another band. I remember that clash with some quite big Bloodbath things. They just asked me if I could fill in because they knew me from other bands and from Catatonia stuff, so they knew I could play the songs. So they just asked me if I could fill in, and of course, that's a cool thing to do. And so I did that, and then it just continued on. And at the time when they were going to write The Arrow of Satan is Drawn, I was studying, and they asked if I wanted to join the band, and I said I don't know if I had the time to put in as a full-time member and stuff like that. And they're okay, yeah, it's all right. And then they did that album, and then they were going to do some touring and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, do you want to play guitar again? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And now it's a good time because now I have the time. So
well, I'm assuming the pandemic also put spoke in your wheels. Like, did you, any projects that didn't end up happening because of the pandemic and stuff?
No, I started another project, do some electronic like synth wave thingy. So
nice.
That's cool.
That's cool because it's funny because like people might have the reaction. One of my questions was, what do you listen to that's not like death metal that people would be shocked to do know, you know? So like you actually create synthwave. That's really cool.
I'm not that good, but I try at least.
Oh yeah, there's that. So like, how did you get into playing guitar, and how did you end up like in like death metal, or did you always play?
Have you seen Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
Do you know Slash?
Yes,
that's coolest guitar players.
Yeah, that's your inspiration.
That helped. And my dad, of course, he plays guitar. So he was very into like Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that, and he played Mark Knopfler, Dire Straits, and he played a lot of that kind of music for me and to me, and then we started playing guitar together, and that's I guess how it is, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great story. So I want to know like what's different about this album as opposed to the other ones.
Oh, the main difference is, I think, that we got rid of the HM2 pedals that are very characteristic for a specific kind of death metal. Mm-hmm. So it's more back to the first EP again, which is called Breeding Death, and where they did not have that at all. It's very Florida, Morbid Angel. When it comes to naming stuff, it's always the D side and stuff like that, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
More that than the Stockholm-ish sound. So it's going back to that kind of thing.
Maybe a dumb question, but where did like the origination of like death metal? Is it like, you know, I know it's all in a lot of Scandinavian countries, but do you know a specific place where it like first started?
Oh, I'm not too good at history in death metal. I just listen to it. I don't really put too much time into it. But I think it's like there's a really early bands here. I think with Nihilist, we have Carnage really early. I think, Dismembered and Tomb were also early. But I think Nihilist or something like that is not too sure. Don't take my word for it. And but in the States, I think they were also really early, like Morbid Angel and Death. All those bands are really early bands. So I'm not sure who started it all, but I saw a documentary about Swedish metal music, and I think there were a lot of those bands like Arch Enemy and At the Gates.
Yeah.
All those bands were on the topic then. And there was this guy, I don't know, he was like a record company boss or something like that, and he said, "Why do you think?" And he wasn't from Sweden. He was I don't know, but he said that he think freedom. That was the I don't know, but maybe that's something. We have there's a lot of help here when you start. You can start something called, directly translated, study circles. It's studio circle. I don't know how to. We could if you're like 3 people. You can, especially if I think I don't know how old you can be not having it, but kids, you can get it like, and then you start a band, or you can start like a book reading club. You can start whatever kind of clubs and stuff like that. And then you file the hours. I mean, okay, Saturday, the 9th of October, we played 4 hours, and then you get paid when you have reached 20 or 25 times. You send it in, and then you get like 10 or so Swedish krona an hour. So you get, as a kid, you like can pay rehearsal space rent, and you can pay. It's a lot of those stuff that I think really, really helps.
So is that like you have to apply for that, or anybody could just send in and they just believe you?
You have to apply for it, but anybody can send in. That's they have. Quite recently, they have realized there's a lot of cheating going on, of course.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid, my mother was like, because she never heard of it, and I was like, "And you what? You got money for what?" Because I came home with like a mixing desk for how much in like the euros? It's like 500 euros. If you know the currency of euros, but 500 euros, and I was like 14 years, and then I had some distortion pedals. We have gathered a lot of money, of course, and my mother's like, "Where did you get those?" And I was like, "Oh, we have this study circle here," and she's like, "What? And you just get money?" I was like, "Yes." And then I showed her the papers and stuff. She was like, okay. So that's really good.
That's funny because, like, you know, over the years, talking with some of my musician friends, and we're all into, like I was saying before, Meshuggah and all this stuff, and we're all like, and you know, all these rumors sort of start like that, where like, yeah, but musicians are supported, they get paid for doing this, that, and like here in Canada, we have grants where you can apply for a grant, and you can, you know, maybe it a marketing, recording budget, mixing, you want a video, you know, they sponsor your video. But I mean, you have to apply for it, and it's like a jury. I've applied and I got refused, you know, but like people get accepted. So it's kind of similar. And I didn't know, like doing these interviews is when we find out that it's a pretty rare thing, you know, like not every country has this kind of support, which I think, you know, already, even in like most countries, music is the first thing to get cut when the budget, you know, gets cut, you know, so they take it out of schools and stuff, which it's, I don't know, I find it's very important to have it. I mean, I understand like math and English or whatever it may be. Studies are important, science, but I mean, you need that creative outlet, you know, like you can't just always be doing business stuff or whatever. You need to be able to do other things. You know,
even like business guys in suits, they buy expensive guitars to sit and hold.
That's it. Yeah, because I was we joke about that a lot. Like, who can afford these Gibsons now? And these like, you know, doctors and lawyers, you know. So it's all guys that could play it at home. Yeah, it's very cool, man. It's good to know that like Sweden is like supports the arts too, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. That's So I think that's one of the it could be one of the main, you know, reasons for like people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not writing the music, but of course it's like it helps.
No kidding.
Continuing affording rehearsal spaces and stuff in an early age instead of, you know, have to borrow your big brother's stuff or whatever, you know.
Oh, that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Play my brother's guitar, my brother's amp, my brother's pedals, you know. Like, it's true.
Yeah.
Definitely helps. How did you end up in like? Because you know, from Slash is one thing. I see he's such an iconic figure. How did you end up going into?
But Death? You know, it went from Slash to Metallica. You know, Jason Newsted. No, all those guys. Jason Newsted, the bass player. I thought he was so cool with his. I remember watching. I think it was like Woodstock Live '94 or something like that, and I remember his haircut and his brutal hair, and he was always headbanging. It was so cool. So that's awesome. I like the bass player instead of guitarist, which is really strange, but it was cool. And Metallica, and then, you know, venturing into darker and more brutal stuff. I think like Napalm Death, Cannibal Corpse, and then I heard Dismember's first album, and then it was I was hooked.
So you guys are excited, must be excited now, like the new album is going to be out September 9th, which is called Survival of the Sickest. So you guys must be really excited to get something out, new music to the fans. Has there been a good reaction from the fans?
As far as now, we have released 2 songs, and I think the main, other than, you know, they want Mikael Åkerfeldt back on vocals or something like that. Other than that, it's been very good, I think. Very good. I've read some YouTube comments and stuff like that, and it seems like it's very, you know, positive, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm more like, I grew up in the prog rock, you know, the Dream Theater, Metallica, like yourself and stuff, but I never really ventured into the super heavy stuff like you guys. But when I was listening to the some of the new record today, I got a lot of like you were saying, maybe the HM2 pedals, like maybe they made it a little fuzz, but I got more of a raw, more natural death metal kind of guitar sound almost, right? Yeah. So like, what was the process of like recording that, or like, did you guys work in studio files, send files to each other?
For writing music, it was each of us sits at home writing music. There's no rehearsing and stuff involved. It's more writing, programming drums and stuff like that, which I'm not really used to. I'm more of a rehearsing guy in other bands that I'm playing, but that was really cool. But then when recording, we were of course in the studio, and it's always adding some stuff and taking away stuff, and, you know, making the tracks really
Are all the members like in Sweden, or are you guys in like in separate?
Yeah, all the band members except the singer Nick. He lives in UK.
So are you excited like to for the tour? Is there any tours coming up?
Oh, unfortunately, I don't know yet. I heard some talks about stuff, but it never fits in the schedule for the other guys are in so many, in not so many bands, but the other guys are in quite big bands, so
okay.
They take a lot of time. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So like, cause I know, like I saw here notes that the North American tour was canceled again or something. Like,
yeah,
it's like a few times now. Like, how you guys?
Third time.
Yeah. How do you guys deal with that? Like, how does that? It sucks.
It really sucks. We don't know. It's like this time was like, oh, how do we say it this time? They will fucking kill us over there, if we're not coming. But they understand it was a fucked up visa situation again, and yeah.
Well, yeah, I know the U.S. Even we had an interview recently with Wind Rose. I don't know if you're familiar with Wind Rose from Italy. They're like dwarven metal kind of band,
Okay.
And them too. They had issues getting a visa to go in the States. Couldn't, they couldn't come to tour and stuff. So it seems to be a reoccurring issue. Like it's hard to get in visas for the U.S.
Yeah, it seems like it. But I know other people and bands, and also members of Bloodbath in other bands get visas to go, but not Bloodbath as a band. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's complicated, that stuff, for sure. I also know that like you guys just signed into Napalm Records.
Yeah.
So how is that like? Has that really helped the band? Like, how has it affected the band and the new album?
I'm not too involved in those stuff, but I think, as far as I know, they've been pushing the stuff really, really well, getting it out. Even more. I think even more than before. I'm not too, like I said, this is my this is my first. I don't really know that much about how it's been before, but I think there's a huge push for this release.
Well, I know like the new video, Zombie Inferno, had already like almost over 100,000 views when I checked it and stuff. So it seems to be getting a good reaction. What is Zombie Inferno about? Like, were you part of the video process also?
I'm not part of the video process at all. We talked about it, but I don't
have a role in it.
No, I don't really. Yeah. I'm glad I don't have to be in the video. It's so it's very annoying. Sometimes, of course, it's fun to record a video, but it takes a lot of time and it's energy consuming and stuff like that. But the video turned out really cool. I like it. The song is about just about being chased by zombies and how horrible that could be.
Yeah, I'm assuming like Walking Dead. We've all watched The Walking Dead. It's pretty. So speaking of touring, before I was asking, we asked this to artists a lot, guests on the show. Like, is there a dream, let's say, venue or tour you would love to play, or a band you would love to play with on tour?
Like I would love to go to the States. I would like to play a lot in the world. That would be really cool, to see places. See places. You always say that, but you see the inside of the
bus and the venue and the hotel,
or the venue and stuff like that. But I would have loved to go get over to the States and see all that stuff. And
have you been in the States, in North America, before?
No.
Oh, okay. So
I've just played that. What's it called? The 70,000 tons of metal boat. When you get to Miami, and then I've done that twice.
How is that? Is a cruise, right? Like the cruise ships?
Yeah.
And how is that?
I'm not a cruise guy. I don't like to be like you have to stay at this place. So I enjoy when you get out and you can take a walk on the. Last time was a nice beach that we got to. That was really, really, really nice. But the boat but playing there is awesome because there's the people there are so much into metal music, which makes it really, really fun. So in general, it's great. It's just that I'm not too boaty, or how you say it.
I was just wondering, like guitar-wise, going back to like your influences and stuff. Is besides Slash, is there someone you could name that's like an influence for you?
James Hetfield of Metallica, of course. His right hand technique is a riffmaster. Indeed, he's really cool guitarist. I liked Steve Vai a lot. I don't know. He's like a wizard on guitar. I don't know how to play. I don't know how he does when he plays that stuff, and I haven't, of course, tried some stuff, but I haven't really tried. But he's really cool, and also has some really cool, melodies and stuff like that when he plays.
We had him on the show. It was just a blast to talk to him about his new. Have you seen the new Hydra guitar? That 3-neck crazy thing he did? Like it's awesome, and he was such a nice guy. He was telling us Frank Zappa stories. I mean, that's like a dream come true, hearing cool. Steve Vai. Yeah. Is there any particular Steve Vai album that you're, your favorite or like you're into?
Oh, Alien.
Love Secrets. Alien Love Secrets.
Yes.
Yeah, that's heavy. That one, like it's good.
It's really cool. And is it Passion and Warfare also?
Yeah. That's the classic one.
Yeah.
I have that still on vinyl, and I didn't even open it yet. It's still completely
I haven't
brand new.
to on vinyl, but I have opened them, and I also bought them
CDs.
Used.
CDs, cassettes. I've had them all. Yeah. So, anyways, I appreciate you coming to talk to us on the show. Is there anything you want to let our audience know to check out? I mean, I know you're not sure about the tours and stuff, but I mean, like, anything else you want to let them know?
I just want them to check out the new album if they have the time. Also, that I hope they enjoy it. And
I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge death metal fan, but I enjoyed listening to it. Like I was saying, when you're saying old school, like I got those old school tones and riffs and stuff. So I'm sure a fan already of this genre is gonna love this album, which is, like I was saying before, it's on Napalm Records. It's out September 9th, 2022. Survival of the Sickest. Check it out, Bloodbath. Thank you, Tomas Åkvik, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
I wish you all the best.
Oh, you too. Take care.
Huge thanks to Tomas for joining us on this brand new episode of Innersleeve. It was awesome to have him come and join us to give a bit of insight on the life of Bloodbath. And of course, one of the newer members of the group who's had a lot of lineup changes. So it's cool to see sort of one of the newer faces coming and giving us details on his experience.
Yeah, when I looked at the lineup, because they're considered a supergroup, right, for death metal. They've started by one of my favorite artists, Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth, and stuff. But like people come in and out, and like there's so many lineup changes, that it's hard to keep track of, right? So that's why I asked him in the interview, you're the newest member, and when I asked about the touring, he's like, I don't know, because they're all so busy with their groups that it's hard to schedule. And it's true. I didn't think of that aspect. Like when you put a supergroup together, it's hard to get it with everybody else's normal responsibilities, because some of the guys play in Catatonia, some guys play obviously in, like, the drummer was recently, I think, left Opeth, so it's like a lot of musical chairs, I would say, right?
Like a revolving door of supers.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting to see and hear, though, so definitely a pleasure to have him on the podcast, and we thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode number 88 of Innersleeve. We really hope you guys enjoyed the show. Of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and, of course, our audio platforms. 28,000 subscribers on our main YouTube channel. We want to thank you guys so much for that, and of course, make sure to go interact with all the community tab posts, polls, and daily content we put up there every single day. And Joe, we're on socials as well.
Yeah, everywhere at SoundMojo, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Where else did I put myself? I don't know.
You name it, we're there, folks. Anywhere that you can find us. Thanks so much for tuning in to this brand new episode of Innersleeve. We'll catch you guys next week.